Hey everybody, this is Drachona. I'm going to try something a little different. I'm calling it a review and watch. I'm watching Spy. You've heard of it. The comedy action movie with Melissa McCarthy, Jude Law, and Jason Statham. Now, I've never done this before, so we're going to see how this goes. But this is the first little bit. Just watch the first part right before they do the homage, I guess, to the James Bond opening with the song and the cool looking visuals. You know, making Jude Law a spy is an awesome idea, even in a comedy. If you just kind of made it comedically over the top. If, like, he's firing his gun and he's got way too many shots for that one gun, and someone's like, how are you firing all these shots? I don't know, something like that. That'd be really funny. If you made it comedically over the top, but you made him competent, just kind of ridiculously competent, amazingly skilled. Surprisingly, making him incompetent, the whole sneezing and landing a perfect headshot, that's not really funny. I mean, I saw it in the trailer, so it kind of ruins it, but even if I hadn't seen it in the trailer, it's still not that funny. I mean, he sneezes and he lands a perfect headshot. It's like, wow, even for a comedy that I'm not supposed to take that seriously, that's pretty lame. And it just makes his character less likable because he's so incompetent. And then, what's with the scene in the office with the bats? Some woman making some random comment. I wondered if that was going to play in somehow, and it did, sadly. Some woman talking about shit being in someone's cake? I guess it was someone's birthday? And then some dude goes up into the ceiling and bats fly out? Because there were just a bunch of bats in the ceiling at the CIA? And then, why did Jude Law ask Melissa McCarthy to go fire his gardener and take care of his clothing? She's not his chauffeur. She's not his personal servant. I'm not saying that a chauffeur and a personal servant are the same thing. But she's not his servant. Why would she get his dry cleaning? You know, why would she fire his gardener just because he forgot to do it? She's an analyst. Okay, maybe they're kind of like friends in their job, but she's a freaking CIA analyst. She wouldn't be doing that. She probably wouldn't even be allowed to get that personal with someone she's watching over, which I don't quite get. I guess satellites, that's how they have some of the like thermal view of wherever he was. But then the drone thing. You're really telling me that she just picks up a phone, calls out coordinates, which I don't know how she knows exactly where the coordinates are. I guess they're just up on the screen. She calls out coordinates and boom, drone strike. There's just one flying over at all times. If they said they had one on standby, great, but let us know that. Otherwise, you can't just be like, ooh, super spy technology. It's like, even MI6 isn't that quick. You know, anyway. So this is just the first few minutes that I'm reviewing right here. I'm gonna go along, I'm gonna stop every once in a while and go over what I see. So far, yeah, like I said, Jude Law is a super spy. That's awesome, but so far he seems kind of lame. Melissa McCarthy is a CIA analyst. She's not funny. I didn't think she'd be funny. I had no expectation of this movie being funny. I only rented it because I've been really harsh about it, just talking about how the trailer looks, and I thought, okay, I'll rent it. I spent money so that I could watch this. I feel terrible. But if I want to give it a fair shake, I have to actually watch it. Doesn't mean I'm going to watch the whole thing all the way through, but I have to at least see what it's like. So far, it sucks. The bat thing made no freaking sense. I don't understand who thought of that and then who thought it was funny. It's not. But anyway, I'm rambling on. That was the first few minutes. Hopefully this gets better. It's not. It's so not. This is gonna suck. I can do this. Hope for me. This is fucking Spy. It's been like 3 minutes. If you've seen the movie, right after the opening, the dinner scene with Jude Law and Melissa McCarthy, yeah, I just got through that scene. Just that scene. It's like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes long. That's all it took. I'm going to try to keep going, but... My theory on the problem with comedies nowadays is that they talk too much. Go back. If you've seen that movie, if you own it, or if you rent... I don't know. If you can go back and you can watch it, watch that scene with Jude Law and Melissa McCarthy at the fancy restaurant. They talk way too much. The whole scene. I mean, except for the scene, the part of the scene where Melissa McCarthy puts the hand towel in her mouth and neither the waiter nor Jude Law stop her and say, don't put that in your mouth, it's a hand towel. After that, when he gives her the cupcake necklace thing, which I don't know enough about these characters to know what their relationship is. Like, she seemed to be expecting a diamond ring, and he kind of makes reference to how awkward it would be if that was the case. But I don't know enough about these characters yet to know how close even she thinks they are in her mind. I don't know anything about her as a character, so to drop this on us so quick, it doesn't make any sense. But after that, after the reveal of the little cupcake thing, they don't shut up. It's this little blurbing that it's the awkward banter. You know, it's like they're struggling to say something because they don't want to express how they really feel, but they just keep doing it for like 2-3 solid minutes. They just keep talking. It's just, well, I don't know. Well, anyone can you think of any comedy movie, any movie that has made you laugh? The parts that make you laugh. Were people just constantly talking? Think about it. I'm going to think about things that have made me laugh. Airplane. Like things that have made me laugh my ass off. In Airplane. When they're in the air traffic control tower and they say, they'll never make it without instruments. And then it switches to the cockpit and they're all... They're playing instruments. And it's a quick scene. They don't say anything. They just cut to the cockpit. They're all playing, a bass. I mean, it's like, that's hilarious. And that's all we need to see. They don't need to explain what we just saw. They don't need to lead us into it any more than that pun. They'll never make it without instruments. In the movie Top Secret, when... Honestly, I haven't seen all of Top Secret, but the scene where the protagonist and the antagonist get into a fight, fall into a river, sink to the bottom of the river, and have an underwater bar fight. It is as hilarious as it sounds. And as ridiculous as it sounds. There's a bar underwater, and they have an underwater, like Western-style bar fight. It is hilarious. Or, like, think of, like, Ghostbusters. What's really funny, I mean, that's not even a movie where I would think, it's a comedy, but it's not just a comedy. Like, Airplane is made just to be a comedy. Ghostbusters is still a movie. There's still a pretty, maybe not dramatic, but there's a full story there. It's a supernatural movie that happens to be funny. But think of some of the funny lines in that. Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. That's all you need. That's freaking hilarious. Would you like some coffee, Mr. Tully? Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some. I mean, it takes clever writing. And that's part of the problem. It's a lack of clever writing. It's the fact that they don't have anything funny to say, but they can't just sit there silently. If they sit there silently, you're going to notice nothing's funny. Nothing funny is going on. They're just sitting there quietly. So, because they don't have good dialogue or good situational comedy to fill up the time, they just talk. They just keep talking. They never shut up. They just back and forth, this cheesy banter. It's not funny. Nothing they say is funny. That's the problem with a lot of modern comedies, I notice. I mean, I haven't seen a whole bunch of modern comedies, but I think I've seen enough. I've seen Identity Thief. I've seen... Oh man, what have I seen? I've seen The Interview. Good God, don't get me started on that. Actually, not a bad premise, and I will give credit. Kim Jong-un's character, the actor playing Kim Jong-un, his character is freaking great. The, never had a childhood man boy character, that is hilarious. But the execution of the whole movie was awful. It was freaking terrible. It was just not funny. But the problem is, like I said, when they don't have anything really funny to say, they fill it in with boobs and gross out humor, which to me is technically a form of humor, but it's not really humorous because it's just supposed to be gross. And they fill it in with just talking. Two main characters will just talk. They'll just go back and forth. They'll mumble almost. It's like you don't even really care what they're saying because they're talking so much you could never follow what the hell they're saying, and it adds nothing to the story. It's not important dialogue. It's not exposition. Not that I want them to just ramble exposition, but at least it would contribute to the movie. This scene with Melissa McCarthy and Jude Law at this fancy restaurant, it adds nothing. It lets me know that Melissa McCarthy has the hots for Jude Law's character. Fine. Agent Fine. Is his name. But, so it tells me that. But like I said, I don't really know enough about either of those characters to know how legitimate it is. Is she just, Sandra Bullock obsessing over him? Or, it's clear that he's not really into her. That she's just kind of the hopeless romantic. Sort of. But it's I don't know enough about you guys for you to introduce this so early on. I don't know anything about your relationship except for that opening scene, which doesn't really tell me much. It makes me question why in the CIA an analyst would be doing some MI6 shit and why she would be getting his dry cleaning and firing his gardener. But other than that, other than letting me know how she feels about him, which again, I don't know enough about them to really give a shit, it's just pointless. It adds nothing. Like I said, the things they talk about, it's boring. But it's annoying at the same time. I was literally jumping up and down going, shut the fuck up! Because they're not saying anything. They were just mumbling back and forth. I mean, I've never seen a more clear sign of a lack of good writing. They have nothing to say, so they essentially say nothing. But like I said, you can't just sit there and say nothing. You have to say something. Otherwise, it'll be really awkward. So you just never stop talking. You just keep talking. Maybe something you say will be funny. But if you don't stop talking, then you don't have awkward silence. Except when you keep talking, it's just annoying. It's not funny. But, yeah, I'm like 10 minutes in. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try. I'm not even gonna say maybe it'll get better. It's not. It's not. I'll be back. Probably in another 2 minutes. Okay. What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, at least I made it 20 minutes this time, but I just ended on, guys, there's a rat on my tits. That's not funny. It's not. It's not funny. It's random. You'd think it would be funny just because of how freaking random it is, but what's with this running gag about having bats and rats in this CIA office? That's not funny. It's not. It's distracting away from the main part of the movie, the whole spy thing. That's what should be funny. Stepping away from that. In the trailer, I was really asking, when I saw the trailer, I was asking, how the hell did a CIA analyst end up becoming a field agent? How are they going to justify that? They really don't. It really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. They try to explain it a little bit more by showing some footage of her at the academy where some stunt person does some amazing things that clearly there's no freaking way Melissa McCarthy could do that. I guess it's funny that that's supposed to be her because it's not what you'd expect, but it's not funny. It's just not. I can't even fully explain why it's not funny. It's just not. It's not funny. But I don't even really know how to come at this. It's really not that bad. It's not horrible, but at the same time, I really want to say it's awful. If you can say that there's enough of a difference between those, horrible, awful, it's like, no, it's more awful than it is horrible. It's just not funny. Jason Statham. I mean, now, to be fair, the only movies that I really liked him in were the Transporter movies. I don't even think I've seen Crank. I think I've seen parts of Crank, and it's okay. But in the Transporter movies, he's a pretty badass character. He's not the greatest badass character ever, but he's a pretty cool character. In this movie, you make him seem like a complete idiot. He thinks that Face Off is real? He's supposed to be a highly trained field agent in the CIA. They make these people seem like cheerleaders and jocks in high school. They're supposed to be highly trained. They're supposed to have some level of intelligence. They can't be freaking idiots. They have to know what the hell they're doing. They can't just look cool. They can't look suave and pretty. You know, they have to know what the hell they're doing. I can't believe that this movie made Jason Statham seem like a freaking idiot. But, the the whole explanation for why she becomes an agent. She offers. Here's the thing. She's still at work. After they clearly state that she's way too emotional about the loss of her boyfriend-ish. She's still at work. They wouldn't tell her, look, don't come into work for a few days because we don't need you working on this case. It's clear that you're too emotional about this. What organization would want a worker who is emotional about the loss of someone they used to work with to continue to do work like this? This is a CIA. Why would you have her still be doing spy shit if she's clearly emotional over the loss of her friend? Much less send her out in the field as a replacement for him? Like I said, it made even less sense that it's like, well, this random person knows the identities of all of our agents. I guess we only have like 7 agents, which is better than what it looked like in the trailer. In the trailer, it looked like there were 2, Jason Statham and Jude Law. So at least there are like 7. But you only have 7? That's it? There's no one in the academy who you could recruit for this? There's no one else in the entire freaking building? You just choose Melissa McCarthy because she volunteers? This isn't the Hunger Games! You can't just volunteer for a field assignment. I know she said, whatever, it's follow and report only, but you know that she's going to end up being the badass spy. You know she's going to end up getting involved in more shit. Why in the world would you send her? Yeah, the only thing I'll agree with is no one would suspect that she's a spy. No one would suspect that. But, okay, pick some random person. Like I said, pick someone from the academy. Pick someone that they don't know, they won't recognize. Pick someone who has the skill, who's not emotionally tied to the case, who they wouldn't recognize. Why can't you do that? There are so many other things that you could have done. This is just a bullshit excuse to get Melissa McCarthy into this role. There's no other reason. Unless everyone at the whole freaking CIA died, there's no reason why she would go into the field. It just makes no sense. And it's still not funny. Aside from the fact that it makes no freaking sense, I'm not trying to take this way too seriously. It's just, even within its own context, it makes no freaking sense. Because they're trying to make this seem relatively realistic. But where I just stopped, she's at this rundown hotel. The joke is, it's not what she expected. It's just like the ripoff of Q Branch, where they've got all these cool gadgets, which they don't even really show you a whole lot of cool gadgets. But then they give her all these embarrassing things, like these gadgets and things that are disguised as embarrassing things like stool softener. Ha. I guess. It's really not that funny. I think if done right, it could be funny, but there's just something about movies like this. They're not funny. The execution is just not done well. It's freaking horrible. But I just stopped. She's at this hotel, and Jason Statham shows up. Okay, that's where I stopped. To be fair, the fact that you're bringing back an experienced agent, that makes this make a whole lot more sense. Honestly, you need someone who seems like a more competent agent to carry this idea. But that doesn't get past the fact that he's doing this. This is unauthorized. He's not supposed to be doing this. The frickin' CIA okayed sending Melissa McCarthy into the field. Not as an actual agent, but... And you sent her in just to watch? Why wouldn't you send in... Why not send her in to watch, but then have somebody on standby who's not out in the open, but then once she identifies the target, then they come out, catch the person off guard, and shoot them. Because then no one's going to suspect it if you send in kind of the the scout, and then when you're ready, when it's most advantageous, then you send in the actual agent. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you just send her in? And then it's like, well, I found them. Okay, well, fly back, and then we'll send someone else out there, maybe in a couple weeks, and they'll take care of it. It makes no sense. It's just, This is stupid. This is so stupid. I brought this upon myself, so I can't complain, but this is so stupid. It's just not funny. The premise itself has been done before. The execution is just not good. Guys, there's a rat on my tits. That's not funny. And Jason Statham is just kind of boring. As ridiculous as he is, talking about all these ridiculous things that he's done, supposedly, it's not funny. I just can't take him seriously. He's the kind of character who should just be an amazing badass. Just without question. It's like, you have no idea how he does the things he does. He's just amazing. You need that kind of character because that can be really funny. But he's not that. He's all talk, no do. We haven't seen anything that he can do. He's just said shit. Again, talking too much. But, all right. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to get through more of this. I don't think I can make it through the whole thing. Because it's just getting stupider. And the thing is, like I said, it's not that it's really horrible. It's that it's not funny. It's not. The writing is not funny. At all. The scenarios been done before. And they're not being done in a new and unique way. Like I said, this is like Johnny English with Melissa McCarthy in it. Except, at least that was a bit more funny just because of how goofy Rowan Atkinson was. In this, she's not funny. I'm sorry. Melissa McCarthy is not funny. Her shtick is, I'm fat, it's funny. She did it in Identity Thief. She did it in Tammy. She did it in this movie. She did it when she hosted SNL. That's all she does. That's her shtick. It's, I'm fat, it's funny. Which, as PC as we are, why is that okay? When I looked at the review for Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes at all. I'm sorry. But if Unfriended got a better percentage than Oblivion, one of my favorite movies, fuck you. Fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes. But here's the thing. This movie got a 93%, I think. Whereas Paul Blart Mall Cop got like something in the 40s or 50s. And in the review, it said that Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 had fat-shaming humor. But there was nothing in the review of Spy about that. What about the scene where she falls over in the moped? I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I remember that from the trailer. She gets in the moped and falls over. How is that not fat-shaming humor? This whole thing, the whole reason why she's in it is because she's fat. She's not actually funny. The joke is she's fat. So when you see her do things that fat people would not normally do, it's funny. But it's not really funny because you're making fun of fat people. You're making it seem like all they can be is fat and useless and lazy. That's not funny. As sensitive as we are nowadays about not making fun of people, not making fun of people because they're black, not making fun of people because they're gay or lesbian, not making fun of people because they're nerds. I'm a nerd. I may not look like one, but yeah, I'm a nerd. We don't want to make fun of anybody. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying, how is this not making fun of it? We're making fun of Melissa McCarthy because she's fat. She accepts it. Why should we be okay with that, though? Why is that okay that the whole joke is she's fat, therefore laugh? When she falls over something, when when she's in the moped and it falls over, when she can't walk in the high heels, when she hosted SNL. It's not funny. And even if it was funny at first, which it wasn't, it gets old. It's all she does. Like I said, I'm surprised that more people aren't offended by this, especially people who are overweight. Are people who are overweight not offended by this? That between Paul Blart and Melissa McCarthy, we're making fat people seem like all they can be is a source of comedy just because they're fat, not because they're actually funny. This isn't Gabriel Iglesias, where you're actually funny. No, you're only funny because you're fat. If you were thin, we wouldn't want you. You wouldn't be funny because you're not a good actor or actress. You're not really funny. You can't tell jokes. The writing around you is not funny. It's just that you're fat. Why are we okay with that? I'm rambling. I'm gonna move on. Again, I don't think I can make it much further. I'm going to try, but wish me luck. It didn't get better. The whole premise of making Melissa McCarthy a field agent, not 10 minutes later, maybe like 15 minutes later, she blows her freaking cover. It was a dumb idea to begin with. That, who'd have thought that sending some random CIA analyst out in the field, no experience, no actual field experience, that would backfire, that would cause a problem. Well, darn, it did. I mean, you've got Jason Statham out there going rogue, which, if he's such a good agent, he blows himself. That sounds really wrong. He blows his own cover. The whole idea of sending her out there in the first place was that if you sent one of the other agents, one of the actual agents, they would get recognized. Now, clearly, he disagreed with Melissa McCarthy being turned into an agent. That's perfectly understandable. I can't imagine why anybody would have a problem with that. It's fucking dumb. It's not even so ridiculous it's funny. It's just a really stupid idea. So it makes sense that he would have a problem with it, but then he screws it up. He gets recognized. And then she starts calling out his name. And, so this whole thing of sending her out as an agent, boom, already fucked it up. They already know who she is. She's chasing this guy who took a picture of her, but she didn't do anything about the woman who saw her and said, he's got a friend. She informed them that there's another agent. There's someone else out there. And she saw Melissa McCarthy. Or Agent Cooper. She saw her. So why is she chasing after this one guy who took a picture of her when clearly this one woman saw her? She knew. Melissa McCarthy knew that this woman was a part of it and that she saw her. They were walking within like 3 feet of each other and the woman was on the phone. She said, he's got a friend. Is this supposed to be funny? It's not even laughable in how terrible it is because, like I said, it's not even that terrible. It's not really cheesy. It's just that the writing is freaking awful. She blows her cover, so movie over. I mean, wouldn't you immediately bring her back? Because it's kind of fucking pointless. And now they know that there are 2 people there representing the CIA, so you can't just send in other people. I mean, you could try, but you already kind of fucked it up. Which, like I said, great job sending in an inexperienced analyst to be an agent, not thinking that that might go wrong and not having a contingency plan. Oh yeah, and also this rogue agent, good thing we didn't make sure we knew where he was in case he tried to get involved. I mean, it's not like we're the Central Intelligence Agency. Oh wait, yeah we are! It's the CIA! It's ridiculous enough to think that the CIA is like MI6, that there are these super spies that are out there doing all these suave and cool things like James Bond. I'm sure that they do covert shit, but not like this. This is just ridiculous. This is so cheesy, it makes the original James Bond movies look completely unquestionable. I mean, this makes Pierce Brosnan and James Bond look realistic. Like I said, it's not that terrible. It's not that bad. I mean, visually, it's not that bad. But the characters are awful. The writing is awful. The story, this is all about trying to find some nuclear bomb, and this is the best way? They send in this random analyst with no field experience to find this person who knows where this nuclear bomb is? This is the best that the CIA can figure out? I know it's a comedy, but that doesn't mean that you can't make sense. You know, I mean, if you're going to be completely ridiculous, then be ridiculous. But this is clearly supposed to be set in the real world, but then they throw in really stupid shit. This idiot friend who is now kind of like watching over Agent Cooper, talking about her sex tapes. Again, not funny. This whole thing, it's dumb. It's dumb. This is fucking stupid. This did not need to be made. I mean, of course it didn't need to be made. There are tons of things that don't need to be made, so I guess that's not the best point. But it's the fact that it's not entertaining. Seeing Jason Statham be completely incompetent as a spy, that's not funny, and it's not entertaining. Seeing Melissa McCarthy not say anything funny, and honestly, there hasn't even been any fat-shaming humor. She just hasn't done anything funny or said anything funny. The only thing she's done is be a complete idiot. She blew her own freaking cover. Game over. And then you get things like, what the hell was up with the aluminum foil German singers in Paris? And then the whole scene in the hallway at the hotel. Jason Statham and Melissa McCarthy, I shit you not, doing a childish back and forth. You're going to ruin this mission. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. And then Jason Statham says, you times infinity. As funny as it would be to see Jason Statham act like that with good writing, I can imagine. It's not. Here, it's just not funny. I mean, it's like a freaking vacuum of comedy. It's just not funny at all. It's so empty, so boring. You feel like this could be freaking hilarious. This scenario, even though, like I said, it's been done before, could be hilarious, but it's not. It's not funny. It's just meh. I'm done. I'm fucking done. No, fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. I don't want to keep watching this piece of shit. It's not funny. It's not worth my time. I mean, when I saw the trailer, I thought, wow, this looks really stupid. It's even more stupid than I could have thought. But here's the thing. I thought it would be stupid because of all the fat humor, Melissa McCarthy falling and breaking things. I thought that there'd be more of that. I thought that there'd be a whole bunch of really bad attempts at humor. But the thing is they're not even trying. It's like they're not putting any freaking effort into it. There aren't actual jokes. Guys, there's a rat on my tits. That's not funny. You're going to ruin this mission. No, you are. No, you are. You times infinity. The delivery is just not funny. The execution of the whole thing is just not funny. It's kind of fascinating, really. Like I said, I thought this was going to be way more over the top with all the fat-shaming humor, with just really bad attempts at humor from Melissa McCarthy. But really, she's just been kind of bland. She's not an interesting character at all. I don't know who the hell she is. I mean, I was kind of hoping that Jason Statham and Jude Law would have better parts. Jude Law's fucking dead. So the whole development about her kind of having the hots for him was sort of fucking pointless because you introduced it to us within the first 5 minutes and then killed him 5 minutes later. Jason Statham is just an idiot. He's supposed to be this competent agent, but he's a freaking moron. He blew the mission, and she blew her cover. And remind me why I even give a shit. Remind me why I care. Okay, nuclear device, great. I don't know anything about the villains. That's the thing. As much as I've seen, I don't know anything about the villains. All I know is there are villains. I don't know anything about them. So I can't even say whether or not they're relatable because I haven't seen them enough. What are they doing? I mean, I'm sure that we're going to get there, but how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take before there's actual fucking development? Before I know more about Melissa McCarthy's character? Before I get anything else out of Jason Statham? Is that all I'm going to get? Is he just going to be this completely incompetent jackass? I mean... Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Like I said, I thought this was going to be more over the top with just terrible humor. I thought this was going to be like The Interview, where you could tell that they were putting effort into it. They just had no fucking clue what they were doing. They were putting so much effort into trying to be funny, and they just failed miserably. Here, they're just not putting effort in. They're not trying. It looks like they got Melissa McCarthy, Jason Statham, Jude Law, and some of these other actors and actresses, and they just piggybacked off of the sets of Spectre. They just kind of, like, okay, Daniel Craig's gone. Move in there, and we're going to shoot a scene. We haven't actually prepared any jokes, but we're going to try to make this funny. Why don't you have this guy take a picture of you, and then you'll chase him? That'll be funny. Or we'll have Jason Statham throw a bomb into the water and have it explode in fire even though it was underwater, so how would there be that much fire? Not important. Oh, I've got it. Let's have like a German techno band dressed up in this weird Elton John aluminum foil outfit. Why not? I mean, at least it's unique. It's not like anything I've ever seen before, but being different is not the same as good. We should know that by now. Just because something's different doesn't mean it's good. You know what I mean? This movie just sucks. Again, I thought it was going to suck for multiple different reasons. I thought it was going to suck because there was just going to be a whole lot of fat-shaming humor. And maybe there's more of it later. Not going to get there. Sorry. Fuck it. But I thought that this was just going to be Identity Thief. I thought this was going to be Tammy. I thought this was going to be The Interview, but this is just a bore. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. The attempts at humor, what few there are just so lazy. Guys, there's a rat on my tits. How long do you think it took them to come up with that? I mean, I write stories. I'm working on a screenplay right now. For me, developing dialogue is a serious challenge. You want what your characters say to be realistic, but you don't want them to just talk too much. You don't want the movie to be mostly just talking. You want there to be visuals. You want there to be things that happen to people. You want there to be silent moments. This movie doesn't have silent moments, though. The dialogue sounds like it was written in one go with no editing done. There's no comedy. The premise itself makes no fucking sense, and 10 minutes later you freaking blew the premise wide open. You just showed within your own movie why it was stupid to send a random, inexperienced analyst into the field. She blew her own cover. It's just bad. I don't want to waste your time by just continuing to say how bad it is. It's bad because it's clear that they just don't give a shit. I don't know if it's Paul Feig. I don't know if it's the cast and crew. It seems like a lot of the cast doesn't give a shit about their performance. They're not really trying. Maybe Melissa McCarthy is. Maybe Jude Law kind of was. But the rest of them, they don't seem to give a shit. And like I said, it's not funny. This is supposed to be a comedy. It's not funny. Even the action. There's no action. When is this going to get cool? When is this going to be over the top? When is this going to be exciting? It's not. She's chasing after a guy who took a picture of her with the fucking camera. Like, very subtle. Yeah, big ass camera just taking the picture like that. And then, of course, not doing anything about the woman who already saw her, so cover's already blown. Kind of pointless at this point. Like I said, there's not much else I can say. It's horrible. It's horrible because it's lazy. That's how I would describe a lot of modern comedies. Fucking lazy. It's clear they just don't care. They're not putting effort into it. The writing is awful. That's why they just keep talking. They just ramble on about stupid shit because they have nothing funny to say. So they just keep talking. Because talking is better than silence, I guess. Like I said before, it's a lot less awkward. But it sucks. The end. Have a nice day. And don't rent this movie. Don't buy this movie. It's not worth your time. Drake out. Epilogue. Hi guys. Just wanted to say, if you liked this review or if you didn't like this review, comment on it, like, subscribe, do all that shit that everybody else tells you to do. Why? Because I'm telling you to do it. That's a good reason, right? I just wanted to say, tell me what you think about this. Kind of the review as you go. My thoughts are kind of fresh on it, but also much more emotional. I'm not gonna lie. This movie sucked. And I just wanted to leave you with this final thought. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, Melissa McCarthy is going to be one of the Ghostbusters. Bill Murray is going to be playing a Walter Peck type role. And it's all going to be directed by Paul Feig, the same director as Spy. So if you didn't like Spy, we're all going to be in for a real treat when Ghostbusters 3 comes out. Are you excited? I'm not. I'm really not. I'm going to be pissed. I know I'm going to be pissed. We'll get to that day. Hopefully, I won't have to review that piece of shit. I guess I don't know yet whether or not it's going to be a piece of shit, but if it's anything like this movie, yeah, probably. Anyway, have a good day, and just don't watch this movie. Read a book. There's a novel idea, no pun intended. Just don't watch this movie. Don't indulge Melissa McCarthy. Don't indulge Paul Feig. Maybe once Ghostbusters 3 comes out, we can finally be rid of all this. What a day. Probably not. No, yeah. Probably just gonna be like this for a few years. We'll get over it. But if you demand better things, you'll get better things. That's what it takes. Don't watch this bullshit. Demand better shit. That's what I expect of you. That's what I expect of me. I'm gonna do it, so do it with me. I didn't mean it like that. Unless you're interested. I am single. Not the point. Have a nice day, and don't watch this movie.